Well, it looks like I'm live. Mark, can you confirm that I'm live right now? Sorry, guys. Every week we seem to have a little bit of an issue, but I want to make sure that Mark Morek is with me in the room right now. So I think we're good. I apologize. Okay. Yeah, I think we're good. So hello, everyone. My name is Robert Ciresi. I am the CEO of Ciresi Morek. Today I'm back. Well, I'm in my office. I think my team members are going to be joining me next week. That is my goal. So today is May 27th, I believe. And I want to talk about our new opportunities, what we kind of learned this week, some ideas on finding new search. With me, I got Mark Morek. As you notice, he's going to answer some of the questions on the side. So if you have questions, just fire them away. We're going to be sharing some articles, some tips, but just if you can, make this as interactive as possible. For me, it's a little bit, I get a little nervous in front of a camera and an audience not even with me. But anyways, so once again, Robert Ciresi, CEO of Ciresi Morek. A couple things I wanted to share with you as far as an agenda. And each week we try to get better. Ultimately, we're doing this to kind of help those individuals out there who are looking for new opportunities, looking for jobs, maybe give them but maybe different tools that we use to help folks find roles. So I think it helps folks. Once again, we have a monthly newsletter you can sign up for if you go to www.ceresimorek.com/subscribe. We send it out around the 15th of every month. We include some of our searches. We include, like I said, tips, just everything we've got a team of 10 of us. So we're out there kind of pounding the pavement, finding jobs, finding information out. So we do our best to share everything out there and with you, our audience. So if you can, sign up for it. I want to congratulate. We made a few placements recently. Eric Bickley, who joined with Clarios, an operations type role. Denise Henry, she starts with one of our aerospace customers on the east side of Cleveland. Yes, aerospace is still hiring. It's a good company called CPP. It's a great company. I know the leadership there. And then Tony Brooks. Tony Brooks went to work for Georgia Pacific in a plant manager role. And a good story here about networking. So we had never recruited for Georgia Pacific in the past, but Mark Morek, who is a West Point graduate, via his network, I think the president of Georgia Pacific was also a West Point graduate. I don't think they went to school together, but they became, colleagues, friends, and very simply, he asked Mark to help him find some folks, and Mark's done a good job. So if you'll notice, this is reversed. So yeah, right here you'll see a sign that says "Go Navy, Beat Army." I just do that to taunt Mark Morek. I didn't go to Navy. I just do it to harass Mark. So those are the folks that we placed recently. Another thing I want to talk about today, I always talking about LinkedIn, and there is an article, and Mark, I don't know if you're going to put that up or not, but we read an article, I think we're going to put it on a LinkedIn website, Forbes article, a guide to recruiting in challenging times. So, Mark, if you have an opportunity, pick that up. And I think this article, if you get an opportunity to read it, talks about, I think 38% of HR folks or recruiters say that the health crisis is severely impacting their hiring plans. 39% is also having a moderate impact. Candidly, we've only had a small amount of our roles eliminated. Most of them put on hold, but we still have, I think, 39 active roles, meaning we can generate an interview for 39 of our openings. But nobody has really told us to turn the search off, or the role's been eliminated. Maybe we're fortunate. Maybe it's the industries that we're in. Obviously, aerospace and automotive and a lot of other parts are hit hard, but we still have a lot of searches out there. One of the things I want to talk about as well, and if you get an opportunity to read that article, it's a good one, was LinkedIn is focused on companies hiring during the COVID. That is key to our audience to understand. A lot of these roles are temporary jobs. And one of the things I want to talk about, and this just kind of popped in my head, 455. So if you're considering an opportunity where maybe you're looking at as a consultant or a temp, when I got in this business in the late 90s, it was remarkable. People thought being a contract employer, a temporary thing was a negative thing. That is like the new norm. Mark and I discussed going into that business in the future. And I'm not suggesting like kind of like, your $8 an hour job, but with so many folks, they want to work as a consultant. They want to work temporarily. They don't want to work 60 hours a week. And obviously now with unemployment shifting compared to what it was a few months ago, things have changed. But I would highly recommend to all of you, if you are unemployed right now and you have that idea, talk to talk to your finance person, talk to an accountant, whoever you know. But it may not be a bad idea to do paperwork for an S Corp or an LLC, just something. I mean, make it simple. Call, Joe Smith, a corporation. Just maybe get a corporation in your name. You could do it online, but it's a lot easier if you go to work as a consultant or a contractor than be 1099. If you have what do you call it, the W-9 to show that you are a corporation, it can really be beneficial. So, like I said, just an idea. I did it. If I can do it, you can do it. And I think one of the reasons I chose an S Corp versus an LLC when I first started Ciresi and Ciresi back in 2008 is I wanted to maximize my 401k. So I had enough revenue coming in. I just really wanted to max out my 401k because I had the opportunity to. So just if you get a chance, as an idea, but if you're looking for an opportunity, start your own corporation. Very easy to do. It's probably better than just getting a what do you call it, the 1099 path. So I'm not a finance guru, but like I said, just take a look at it. I recommend everybody who might be unemployed at the time. Another thing I want to talk about today, that some of these articles that we read is about is being underemployed. Listen, that's an individual last week sent me a note. I don't know if she's watching today. She's an HR manager, and she suggested that there's a contract role. It's a little bit less than what she's done in the past, but hell, it beats unemployment. I can tell you from my experience, when I'm selling a candidate to an employer or customer of mine, it's a lot easier for me to say, listen, this person chose to work. Yes, it was a job that might have been, a level or two below that person, but you worked and you gained something from there. But like I said, but you have to make your own decision on unemployment versus temporary work, which one pays the bills, which one doesn't. But like I said, I personally just, grind it out. And I think it shows a lot of grit. So the Forbes article, Mark, and I don't know if you can pull it up, 3 ways to job hunt. If you have that, Mark, if you can, grab that. But obviously you want to look for the growth industries, and we can talk about that. Find companies that are hiring, refreshing your resume. One of the things that this article talked about, which I didn't like, was, not an Uber driver. Listen, I have a buddy who's an Uber driver. My brother-in-law is an Uber driver. If it pays the bills, it allows for, you can make $1,500 in one night, driving around some idiots, do it, right? It's why not? It's a good opportunity to make some cash, help your mortgage, help your car payment, help pay the bills. I mean, why not do it? I've never in my time had somebody say to me, I don't want to hire that person because they happen to drive a cab or Uber driver when they needed work. So I think it's actually pretty cool. Obviously, talk to your network, stay proactive during this uncertain time, and remain positive. I talked to a guy earlier today, nice guy, but man, he was negative. And I almost had to say, listen, I'd love to help you, but I'm the same boat you're in. I own a company. We're doing the best we can, trying to make payroll, trying to people jobs. If I have a crappy attitude, then my company's not going to survive. So I'm absolutely more of a glass is half full versus half empty. A couple of things too. And this is actually important, and I noticed this. And we'll get to the resumes and the question and some of our new jobs here shortly. But I was blown away last night. I was watching something on I forget what channel it was. It was a beer commercial. I think it was Coors Light or Miller's Light, and they were talking about how they're going to donate money to the COVID-19, and 5% of their profit, 5% of sales, something like that. And at the end, they kind of said, hey, if you need a beer, it's okay to have one right now. Now, I'm not preaching that it's not okay to have an alcohol or tobacco, whatever you want to do, or But I'm simply saying it was kind of like now is probably not the best time to do something stupid. I've had people that I've placed who have failed drug tests, and just because they decided, just a lax judgment, they decide, hey, I'm going to smoke a joint, do something else, and all of a sudden, and I'm not talking about folks. I'm talking about folks who make a couple $100,000 a year. So it will show up, and I think companies are being extremely picky right now because they can be. Like I said, the market flipped. This is very similar to the end of 2007, 2008, 2009. Which if you were a candidate then, you're a candidate now, and you experienced it, it was rough. It was, you had to jump through hurdles to get an interview. You had to kiss the ring and kiss the butt, whatever it might be. Don't give anybody the opportunity to rule you out because you decided something stupid in a lapse of judgment and so forth. And we had done a survey question about how we asked like I said, the survey we did at the end of last year, suggesting that I think it was like 70,000 people. 99% of you said that you've never failed a drug test. I can say that's probably a lie. Just in the past couple of years, I know folks that we placed with failed drug tests. Hell, I've known people, they've started jobs. They've signed offer letters. They found out the drug test was a hair test. And boom, they didn't get the job. They just decided to back out. Hell, I've had customers, I think it was TRW in the late 2000s. They would do the tobacco test. So if you were chewing tobacco in Tennessee, they couldn't regulate it for the country, but in Tennessee, some of their plants, if you chewed tobacco or smoked cigarettes or cigars, so forth, they would not hire you if you had tobacco in your system. So obviously that created everybody to figure out how to get tobacco out of the system, but that's a whole other conversation. A couple of things I want to talk to as well. And guys, one of the things I was thinking about as well, if you're watching right now, and I would love, we don't do a lot of work with hourly employees or union employees. One of the things I've been thinking about, I know recently that the unions are putting a lot of, which they should, they're guarding their union employees. But if you could shoot me a note, give me a call. If you have any feedback on how the unions are handling the UAW, steelworkers, SEIU, food workers, nurses, pharmacists. But I'd love to see what the unions are doing with COVID, how they're protecting their employees, and just what their response is. I mean, you see the NFLPA, you see the Major League Baseball, but you don't see much about the UAW and the steelworkers, what they're doing right now to make sure their employees. If you have any insight on that, shoot me a note. I'd love to hear it. It's just interesting stuff. What else? So we're going to get into some. Woman, by the way, Career Builder sent me a note. Career Builder is constantly looking for me to partner with them. But Career Builder sent me an article, and I can share with you if you send me a note. But some of the, I guess, manufacturing is still one of the top 10 industries that is hiring right now. So, like I said, we're still okay. We most of our roles are still open. I mean, I'm going to talk about new jobs today that I just got today, which I forgot to add one. I will. One moment. I apologize. And Mark, I know you're watching. If I miss someone, let me know. We're going to get the resume review last, but let's talk about some of the jobs that we have. So, excellent. You good with that, Mark? Excellent. So once again, a couple of the roles are older, some are new. So these are ones we can get activity on. Staff accountant in the Akron area, Akron, Ohio, that is. Publicly traded organization looking for a staff accountant, someone with strong background, general ledger. We still need an assistant controller in the Youngstown area. I think that's like a site controller because I think the job pays, $120,000, $130,000 a year. We still need a benefits manager in Northeastern Ohio, a commodity manager. And mind you, most of our customers are manufacturing companies that build something. They are automotive, they are aerospace, they are building materials. So that's where we play. Commodity manager in the Dayton area, compensation manager in the Columbus area, director of compensation and benefits here in Northeastern Ohio, director of human resources in Detroit. Just today, I got one of my customers who is a very large automotive supplier looking for a head of HR in Detroit area. So that's a big job. This one I think will be opening up soon. We have one customer who's an automotive supplier looking for a director of manufacturing engineering. The role is based on kind of launch program management. So that one, not sure what's going to happen. I think I saw an article that 4 million less cars will be sold this year compared to last year. So if you have the money and you can buy a car, now is the time to buy a car. Human resources manager in the Terre Haute area, Terre Haute, Indiana. Human resources manager in Evansville. HR manager in St. Clair. Still looking for a maintenance manager in Cleveland, Ohio. Richmond, Michigan. Not sure where that is. And I'm sorry. Yeah, Richmond, Michigan. Toledo, Ohio. Looking for a materials manager in Terre Haute as well. Looking for an operations manager and a quality manager in the Birmingham area. One of our automotive suppliers who does work with BMW. I'm sorry, Mercedes is still looking for folks. I guess Mercedes is not shut down at all, which is like a good and bad. Interesting set. I spoke to a woman today who's director of HR for a large company in Alabama, and she's originally from actually Indiana. Really awesome woman, but she was suggesting that COVID is actually hitting their site now versus maybe last month in Michigan. So, yeah, just you think about these pockets of the virus and so forth, but yeah, they were a month late. Shutting things down, and now I don't know. It's bizarre because she's getting COVID cases now in Alabama. Let's see. Talked about plant manager in Nashville, plant manager in Detroit, plant manager here in Cleveland. Actually, we have another customer who's looking for a director of operations in Cleveland as well. Good job. Probably paying around $200,000. Looking for someone who has a strong background in operations, supply chain, commercial. Ideally, aerospace would be great. Still looking for talent in Southern California, plant manager, Evansville, Indiana, plant manager. Really cool company. We were retained by Aunt Millie's Bakery. If you live in the Detroit area, Fort Wayne area, that kind of pocket, Angola area, up and down, I think it's 69, 80. They're blowing up. I guess, like I said, I think I mentioned this last week. People love bread, and they're pumping out a lot of bread. So if you know anybody who wants to be a supervisor and work for a neat family-owned company, they've got some opportunities there. Like I said, quality manager, Birmingham area. Technical manager still in Chicago. This is, I think, an automotive supplier that supports Ford. I think Ford builds the Explorers out there. So looking for basically an engineering manager who knows maintenance and process and so forth. Let's see, what else? Vice President of Manufacturing Engineering in Milwaukee, which got to find out what's happening with that one. Vice President of Purchasing in Detroit. And just today got a search for let's see. I think this is on here. I don't know why it's not. Director of Operations in the Chicago area, 4 or 5 sites. What else? This is the old one. That's why. Mark, I apologize. Head of HR in Detroit. Sorry, I talked about that. What was the other one? A supply chain manager role, director of supply chain role near Raleigh, Durham, I think it is. We'll have that on our website soon. So, Mark, if I missed anything, please let me know. I don't think I did. I apologize. Here in Northeastern Ohio, we got another. Let me back up. Northeastern Ohio, we have one company looking for a technical manager, ideally someone who has injection molding. We're also looking for another search for a director of distribution here in Cleveland. Let's see, materials manager in Cleveland. Let's see. I apologize, guys. But that's pretty much it. All of our roles are on our website. They're on LinkedIn. We do the best of posting all of our jobs. So if you have any questions, you can always shoot me an email. I might not be handling the search, but I will direct you to the recruiter on my staff who is. So once again, rceresi at ceresimorek.com. If you see a job on our website, if you go to our website, you go to the career section, and you type in a title. I'm pretty sure that, and Mark, if you can give them an example, that'd be awesome. If you hit the job, you hit apply, it should go to my recruiter in my office. But that's how it should work. If it's not working, let me know, and I will direct you in the right direction. Let's see. Let's go over some resumes, unless I'm missing something, Mark. Are there any questions that I could help anybody answer? Mark's probably trying to find that link right now. I noticed somebody said, go Navy, or that was good. There's one in every crowd, Jeff Snowden. Okay. Let's go. I think a lot of you guys want me to look at some of your resumes. So if you have any questions, you can always, ask me, shoot me a note. So I glance at these a few minutes prior, but I don't digest them. I like to shoot from the hip because I think that a lot of HR executives or internal recruiters, that's what they do as well. So I want to make sure if I'm reading the resume, I'm reading it. It's just coming right from the hip, and just like somebody else would read it. So let's see. This is, and I apologize. I do not want to hinder anybody in their career. We'll go David E. if you're watching and you live on the north side of Detroit. David, I think your resume is great. You put it in a PDF, which makes it very clean, very sharp. I think your spacing's excellent. The only thing that if I'm looking at your resume, the first thing, it looks like you've been doing it. You're a consultant since 2018. Now, and I'm going to speak like you and I are sitting at a bar or a coffee shop or something like that. My first thing is why have you been consulting for, almost 2 years? And when you left this large OEM at the end of 2018, you started a consulting business, which I think is cool. I did my own business as well, but that would be my only thing with your resume. So people are going to get to ask that question. So you've been consulting for 2 years. Has it dried up? Why are you looking to get back into the, working for an employer, something like that? But other than that, I think it reads very, very well. Great educational background, but it's a nice, clean resume. That would be my only thing is what happened? Why did you take a package from your previous employer? Want to start your own consulting business? And guys, the feedback I'm trying to give you is not just how, some boring HR person is going to get it, but I make money placing you. Okay. That's how I make money. Customers hire me to find people like you. So I read it and say, okay, what's the story here? Give me the red flags, give me the white flags, give me the green flags. Just what happened here? Why all of a sudden did you leave this company after 30 years? Yeah, 30 years. Did you get a severance? Did you get a package? So those are questions that people are going to ask you. So be prepared for it. Better than that, I think it reads very, very well. Let's see. Can I use this? Yes, I can. Now, I'm going to butcher your name. I think it's Ashwin. I'm not going to try pronouncing your last name. It appears you just graduated getting your master's in industrial and systems engineering. You don't put a city, which is fine. I think probably because you're a young man who is very, very mobile. I think it reads well. I don't know if it looks like you did a stint, co-ops, internships, and you went to school. Okay, I gotcha. I will tell you this once again. I'm giving you direct feedback. So we talked about this last week, and Mark, I don't know if you can share what we talked about last week. If Ashwin, I presume you were not born here. I see you were educated. You got your undergrad from in India, but when people see your resume, they're gonna ask the question: does this individual need any kind of sponsorship? Are they able to work in the States? You're gonna get that. If you have the ability, if you have a permit, if you have any kind of, just don't let the reader just make that assumption. So, Mark, if you can share what we talked about last week for the same situation, how the individual put that in their resume, that either you're a citizen, you don't need sponsorship, or whatever it might be, I would do that. But other than that, man, I think your resume looks absolutely awesome. You look like you worked your butt off, and you'll find something. But your resume looks very, very. It's a strong resume for a young man. But that's what I would do, particularly on that resume. So I'm going to apologize. I just want to cross them off so I'm not duplicating any efforts. I think the PDF format is awesome. One of the things with Microsoft Word. So if you're using Microsoft Word on a desktop versus an Apple product, a PDF, you can't mess with that up. A PDF is structured, and I don't know the terminology, but a PDF is like a concrete format. A Word document, depending on how you open it, how you view it, it can be viewed different ways. So I always recommend putting your resume in a PDF. Can I say hi, Amy? Nice to meet you, Amy. I see you went with a really nice formatting for the top of your resume. It looks nice. However, this nice formatting when you enter into an ATS might get crushed. So, like I said, for my customers, you spend a lot of time making it look pretty. However, if when you send it to an ATS, it might go to crap. So it is what it is. Looks like you have not worked you've not worked for, what is that, 4 or 5 months. So no reason to put November on there. In fact, I wouldn't. I would get rid of the months on your resume. The first thing I noticed that you have not worked since November. If you put just the dates could be just 2018, 2019. That can mean 1 year, or it can mean 23 months. But I would not put the months on your resume because I guess it doesn't help you. It appears you kind of change the formatting throughout it by putting, well, that's not true. You put title, but it looks like it's a little bit off center. Like I said, I don't like to beat the hell out of you, but the resume is a little bit off center. That's why I like PDFs. Or that's a good resume. But here we go again. You've got, think about the first thing that stands out when I read resumes, usually from bottom to top. So it looks like you got out of school in 2002, but your resume starts in 2010. So maybe looks like you were going to school in between then, but that's why you got to be very careful when you start putting like the months on there. I pull it apart and say, what's this person been doing, and so forth. But that's just my quick glance at that. And what do you want to do? You have a good educational background. What do you want to do? You want to be a human resource professional, right? You want to live in Northwest Ohio. I get it. And I see you went to school here in Northwest Ohio. Looks like you moved back to be closer to family. Who knows? That's what typically happens. But once again, tell the reader, what you want to do. I don't see. I see a lot of. No, Amy, you got a good resume. I would just get rid of the months. Those don't help you. And if you think about this too, Amy, you got to be careful. You've dedicated 4 bullets to 4 bullets. Look at timing. And your first page is basically 4 or 5 years, 6 years. I mean, you've got a good job. I would just tell the reader what you want to do. Maybe put previous employment from the time you were in school. But other than that, I think you have a pretty good resume. Do you have a question, Mark? Let's see. Okay, sorry, I've been reading there and wanted to catch up. And guys, I have these names and I want to make sure that everything's confidential as best they could be as well. Glenn Woodby, automotive manager, technical professional. That looks great. Denzo, I think I might have spoken to you in the past, Glenn. You have perfect. You have your LinkedIn right there. I don't know how your LinkedIn looks, but smart putting your LinkedIn because people want to go to LinkedIn immediately. And folks, here's a tip: if your LinkedIn picture sucks, change it. If your LinkedIn picture sucks, change it. I cannot, the first thing I do when I get a resume, I go to LinkedIn. If you're wearing a tuxedo, you're wearing a wedding dress, if it's you and your wife is right here and your wife's head's cut off, if it's you and your pet, just a nice, clean, professional picture that just trust me, don't put a picture on there. People are going to judge you how you look. Yes, they will judge you how you look. It is what it is. So do not put a picture on there that you might think it's great. Maybe ask your kid, say, do I look like an idiot? If your kid says you look like an idiot, get a new picture. Glenn, the one thing I would say about the first thing I see, I know who Denzo is. I know who an Alpha is. I know who these companies are. Most folks, they may not know who these companies are. I mean, I think Denzo is, you put global tier 1 automotive manufacturer. I think Denzo is like top 5 in the world. And if that's accurate, you sure as hell don't tell the reader that you worked for one of the largest automotive companies in the world. But other than that, I think it reads well. You kept it on 2 pages. I think you have a very nice resume. Some of these titles might hinder you. I don't know what a customer focused team manager might be. This is from 2012. So, I mean, might be titles that in awfully used, but if they're not, like I said, if they're not clean, and you can go into, guys, here's a little thing on LinkedIn too. Type in the title of the job you had and see how many folks had that title, okay? So, for example, Glenn, you type in the title Customer Focused Team Manager on LinkedIn and see how people show up. If a bunch show up, I'm wrong. But there's like 4 or 5 guys out there or gals out there that have that title. People aren't going to be able to find you. So even though that wouldn't be your title on it off on your business card, make it easier for the reader to say, okay, this guy was the plant manager, not customer-focused team manager. Nobody knows what the hell customer-focused team manager is, but plant manager we do know. But other than that, I think it looks very good. You put your KPIs, your metrics in there. Glenn, you got a good resume. I mean, you kept it under 2 pages. What I would like to know, Glenn, and this is just me glancing at it. So you don't put your years of education on your bottom of your resume, which is fine. But it looks like you got well, let me back up. You got your associates in drafting. You started off as a drafter. You got your mechanical engineering and degree from Wayne State. Then you got your master's administration. So I would love to know, Glenn, and maybe if you did this, and I'd recommend this to anybody, if you self-funded your education, put that on the resume. That's a huge accomplishment. If you decided, okay, I got my associates, I knew that if I wanted to advance my career, I had to get more education. I knew that I had to pay for it out of my pocket because some of the companies weren't going to pay for it. If you self-funded your education, bachelor's, master's, what have you, put that on there, self-funded. That's a huge accomplishment that you did. And some folks, like I said, they don't highlight certain things like that. That's something that you should absolutely, highlight. So, but Glenn, on that's a good resume. Let's say, can I say this person's name? I don't know. Give me 1 second, guys. He is not on my list, but I'm gonna guess Uday, right? Uday, in New York. I think this is you. Uday, looking at your resume, like Glenn did a good job putting his LinkedIn profile right there on his resume. I think that was clean. I would have had your LinkedIn profile, copy and paste it from the LinkedIn, and you can just plaster it right there on your resume. I would not put your maybe you want to put the city you live in, Rochester, but I would not put the apartment in which you live in. Don't let people have that information. One thing that I saw, and this is very important, okay? And for some of you who are a little older, like me, or even older, if you gotta use Gmail, what else? Gmail, use Gmail. If you got SBC or Roadrunner or Net Zero or any of these things that are tied to maybe your home network, get a real professional email. I can't stress that enough. Buddy of mine who recently lost his job, this is a guy who makes $500,000 a year. He sent me his resume from his wife's email address. And I said, you're an idiot. I said, you don't have it. I mean, you're a smart guy, make a lot of money. Get your own email address, professional email address, not your wife's, your spouse, or your whatever you use for fantasy football that looks dumb. Just keep it simple. You did a perfect job, Gmail, but like I said, get rid of your home, Net Zero, Roadrunner, Netscape, whatever it might be. Get a professional email, like a Gmail, Yahoo, or I think Hotmail, whatever integrates well with a smartphone. Okay, so I'm going to be very critical of your resume, man. So I think, and I think, listen, it appears you got a 7.5 out of 10 on your education, your undergrad. Does that help you or hurt you? So I see that you put on your master's at 3.43. Listen, it's an awesome degree. I don't have an engineering degree. 7.5 means that you were 75%. So does it help you or hurt you? You may not need to put it there whatsoever. Great. You put 6 in the certified. Yeah, a lot of bolds, a lot of underlines. It looks like an Applebee's menu. So be careful with all the buzzwords. I see what you're doing. you're trying to grab someone's ATS by every buzzword out there. You don't need to do it. You got some good co-ops experience. Once again, you worked at a company called Century Mold. I gotta believe they make molds for injection tooling or injection molding, perhaps. But once again, I would highlight some of that experience and really highlight the companies you worked at and what they did. But just like we talked about earlier, if you are presumed that you might need some kind of sponsorship, put that out there that you don't. You have a permit, you have a green card, because you're going to get labeled as someone who we presume might need that, and you don't want that to happen. So, other than that, to good resume, I would just be careful with all the bolds and the underlines and so forth. So, I think that was that. All right, so I'm going to call this individual KE, KE from Texas, and I think that's the last one. I think that's right, Mark? KE. Okay, KE, I think we've spoken in the past. Listen, I read your resume, and it's a good resume. You work some brand name organizations. You put who they are, what they did. You did a great job with the additional experience. Just putting the companies and the titles, that's huge. You highlighted that you worked for UTC, which is, I think they have 200,000 employees worldwide. You want to highlight that kind of stuff. Highlighted your education, but overall, I think it's a very clean resume. I presume you don't have a summary or objective, but I presume you're trying to find an opportunity where you're heading up HR. Not that you need to, but it's a nice thing to tell the reader. In some of these roles, when I'm asked to find HR leaders, I don't know how high of a role you had, KE, but you want to know who you reported to. If you reported to a CEO or a president, that's a big deal. If you had any experience with executive compensation or board experience, that's a good deal. If you had, sat at the seat of the table, but who were you a business partner to? But other than that, I think it reads, like I said, very, very well. Yeah, very well. Because you worked for big companies, U.S. Food. These are huge organizations. But other than that, I think you have a very, very good resume. Yeah, JD from Miami. That's awesome. So wish I had a job for you right now. Mark, I think, and I hate to cut you shortly. Yes, last week we went for an hour at 39 minutes, but I don't want to take up too much time, and I got to get back to finding people jobs. So, Mark, are there any questions? I see some here and there. I see some from Amy. I see Hardy, Amy. Questions. Okay, Hardy writes, give me a second. Any suggestions regarding how to convince people that my skills are transferable? Even if I don't have lots of auto manufacturing experience, I am still a potential good fit. People like to keep it simple. You're suggesting, and Hardy, don't take this the wrong way, but you're suggesting that your skills are transferable, whereas you're trying to convince someone else to believe you. That's a hard one. For me, it blows my mind. Like aerospace folks want to stay with aerospace, automotive wants to stay with automotive. It's hard to transfer, and I wish I could, but there's really not an easy way. I think the best way is try to find an in, try to find a network associate, try to find someone with a similar skill set to you at the organization to say, hey, give me a shot. Rather than trying to convince someone, maybe give me a shot, give me a phone call. Hell, it's just like asking someone out, give me a shot, give me a chance to take you to dinner. Let me prove you wrong kind of thing. But there's no easy way to simply say, hey, my skills are transferable, even though I have not worked in that industry. I wish it was, but I have not seen a way. So is this a question from Brian? How long do you handle the question of applying for a position whose title is less than – give me a second, guys. I apologize. Question: how do you handle the question of applying for a position whose title is less than your previous one? Oh, gotcha. Well, titles are bullshit. Sorry to be so direct, but every title is different. Just yesterday I got a search for director of operations. It's a plant manager job. Today I got a search for a director of HR. It's a head of HR for North America, but they call it director. So I think titles are relative to the company you work for. Some companies like Parker Hannifin, for example, I don't even think they use the title director. They go from like manager to vice president. So every title is really different. You got to learn more about the opportunity, the scope of the job, but you just got to get on the phone and say, listen. And it's just like, if you're out there looking for a job, it's not just titles or, I'm more interested in the opportunity of the company than I am about the compensation, the benefits. Now you say that just to get in the door, but you can find out more later, but you got to at least get in the door first. So you got to do your best to, and I know there's some HR jerk out there. Sorry for the HR people walking out there. Their job is to screen you out. I'm dealing with one right now. And you just listen. It's almost like saying, listen, this person's a good fit. Your titles are a little different. They want to talk to you, but blows my mind today's day and age. Like I said, it's just people are so afraid of getting on the phone and talking to someone and just having a conversation. They'd rather just say no via email, via text, crap like that, which I think is disgusting. But you just got to keep on, knocking on that wall. So let's see. Hardy, thanks. Perhaps looking for the conversation would be a good starting point. Ashwin, most of the jobs require 2 to 3 years of experience and not ready to hire freshers. I have previous. Okay, so here's a good example. Ash, 2 to 3 years experience. I take years of experience and I throw that crap out the window. That's for me. I am so tired of hearing years of experience. That's just they put it out there because they're putting it out there. You know why they put it out there? Companies put it out there so someone internally can apply for the job and they're going to hold it against them. But if you're good, do not let someone's requirements like that. You could have 1 year experience and someone who has 5 years experience. I'm telling you, if you got 1 year, look at Patrick Mahomes. He's been in the NFL for 3 years. He's an MVP, right? And you got guys who are in the league for 12 years who suck. So do not let a company say you don't have enough years of experience. If you're smart, you're educated, you work your ass off, apply for the job, and you got to come across that way in the interview. So God forbid, don't let somebody say you don't have enough years of experience. Don't let them do it. Just don't let them do it. Any other questions right now? So how to work around it? You punch through it. That's how you work around it. So that may be the best one, but that's how I would handle it. All right, Mark, we've been out for 42 minutes. Do we have any other questions, anything I did not cover? Apply anyway. Yeah, you take a shot. All right. Hey, guys, we'll see you next Wednesday, 5 o'clock. And please send me your questions. If you have any thoughts, resumes, or whatever, I will get back to you. I love doing this. Like I said, I talked about, if you have any friends that are in the union, UAW, steelworkers, SEIU, nurses, pharmacists, love to see how they're handling it. That's a huge part of our workforce. If you have any stories to share, join me. Like I said, right now I'm working with these guys behind me and they're getting a little bit boring. So good luck, all my best, and we'll catch up soon. Take care. Bye-bye.